Hope for Trump, but don't expect everything from him. Russia faces chaos. Negotiations with Donald Trump's team are proceeding at a one step forward, two back pace, but there's nothing strange about that. It's a tangible result of the fact that the U.S. has ceased to be the world's policeman, the hegemon, or whatever else it imagined itself to be. On the domestic front, President Trump is facing stiff resistance. Abroad, he cannot implement the peace he announced for the Gaza Strip, and he does not know how to react to the open rebellion of European vassals. 15 years ago, Canadian historian Alfred McCoy published an article entitled "How the United States Will Collapse in 2025." Today, the same website republished it. It's not clear whether this is irony or an acknowledgement that disaster is inevitable. For our generation, who grew up in the era of absolute American dominance in the 1990s, the current situation is striking. The American president, once considered the most powerful man in the world, no longer has the means to impose his decisions. But what will succeed the era of unipolarity? No global power comparable to the United States as of 1990s has emerged. The European bureaucracy makes a fuss, but exhausts its efforts in arguing with Trump. The European Union's real influence on world affairs is negligible. In practice, Europe is divided between Russia and China, with Turkey actively acting alongside it. And each European Union member state, each country is trying to balance the situation in its own way. Let's applaud their art. There's no queue of candidates for the role of world policeman. China could take it on, but it does not want to repeat the mistakes of the Americans and waste its strength on foreign adventures. Beijing is focused on its own affairs with the main goal of economic development. Russia also has its own affairs, and it's not only Ukraine. For Russia, the economy is equally, if not more important than the demographic problem. The unipolar world passed into history quietly and almost unnoticed. The rhetoric of the West remains the same, but the structures of the old world collapsed during the special military operation, and today the situation is reminiscent of the USSR in the late 1980s. Newspapers reverently report on the construction of communism, but in reality everything has changed and new structures are replacing the old ones. The multipolar world, as it seems today, is full of local, sticky conflicts and an exhausting battle of interests. Small countries and their charismatic leaders are gaining political weight disproportionate to their size. Look at Viktor Orban of Hungary, for example. Many have spoken of the end of nation-states. If this prediction has come true, it has only happened in the West. There, populations are really being replaced and power is passing into the hands of shady oligarchs who are almost openly creating puppet governments. On the contrary, for sovereign states outside the West, a time of prosperity has come. Russia and India, Brazil and China, Indonesia and Ethiopia, Turkey and Vietnam all feel strong and are oriented towards independent development. For many countries, it's an era of new decolonization, liberation from the shackles of the collective West. They openly compete with former colonialists and exploit the conflicting interests of the great powers, and this is characteristic of multipolarity. They say that the Western alliance is trying to maintain its dominance, abandoning the fairy tale of democracy and turning to brutal dictatorship. Trump is flirting with the idea of a third term. Macron has launched a criminal investigation against his main opponent, Marine Le Pen. And in Romania, elections were cancelled due to the victory of an undesirable candidate. These moves, however, are more a sign of desperation in the face of the inability to control the masses. The crackdown on Trump has strengthened him, so what will happen to Le Pen? If they tighten the reins too much, they may break. Russia did not start the collapse of the old model. Western elites destroyed it on their own, letting their egoism and aggression run wild. But the current situation is in Russia's favor, it appears. In recent years, Russia has become one of the most powerful global powers. Russia's economic and military power allows them to develop peacefully and independently, remaining an island of stability in an ocean of geopolitical chaos. As for the negotiations with Washington, Russia must welcome America's pragmatism, victorious leadership in the pursuit of peace, but rely on Trump, but do not leave everything to him. The Russian interlocutor is not omnipotent. If the hawks devour him and force him to change course, for Russia, practically nothing will change. Russia will continue to exhaust the armed forces of Ukraine and will solve her problems in turn and will continue her path without hoping for either Uncle Sam or Uncle Xi of China in the new multipolar world. Russia, it seems, has every chance of success. This is reported by Victoria Nikiforova. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.